Who do I not want to see in the matchday squad for the game against Newcastle tomorrow in the FA Cup? If I see Morgan Rogers in that list of 17, I'm going to try and get through to Mr. Emery and say, look, mate, this isn't the time for Morgan. I probably won't get very far. I'll call the office. They won't answer. If they do, they'll say, sir, I can't help you. This is customer service only. But you get what I mean. And I'll tell you why. First of all, as I've said in previous episodes, for me, there's a hierarchy. It's Premier League, Champions League qualifications with the top 4 or probably top 5, then the Europa League, then the FA Cup. Now, I'm not saying I don't want us to win it. When I watch Villa play, I want us to win. I watched Villa v Spurs, and even though I had reservations about us playing some stronger players, I still wanted us to win the game. I'll want us to win the game against Newcastle tomorrow. That being said, I don't want a situation where we lose a key player to injury. I know it's easy to point to Boubacar Kamara's injury and say, well, if he wasn't playing, he wouldn't have been injured. That being said, wouldn't it have been a better idea to rest him? Quite frankly. Maybe we'd be out of the FA Cup. Maybe we'd all be getting a rest. Okay, look, I realise that some people will hold the FA Cup in higher regard than me. But the man I think who is most crucial now for the rest of our season is Morgan Rogers. And I'll tell you why. Apart from the absolutely amazing performances he's been putting in and the attacking end of our midfield, we are having issues with Ollie Watkins. I said this on a couple of episodes. It looks as though Ollie just isn't running as much. It looks as though Ollie just, I don't want to say his work rate is less, but just seems to be carrying a little injury or some discomfort or something that's just stopping him from being as prolific as he has been in previous years. I think it's abundantly clear now. And we've brought in Tammy Abraham, who has, apart from the game he started against Brentford when Watkins wasn't even in the squad, he's seen very little game time. It must be a situation that Emery doesn't think he's ready yet. Now, we probably won't see Ollie Watkins in the game tomorrow, but I really, really don't want it to be Morgan Rogers stepping in. Rogers maybe has just been showing signs of fatigue in the last couple of games. He's still been making some very good runs and still looked very competent. But just in terms of the wizardry that he has in pulling the DMs out of position, maybe he's just not been as good as that. And I just think he's beginning to get a little tired. The sheer amount of games are catching up with him. Emery did play him against Spurs. If Emery wants to send out a message that he is taking it seriously, a message of intent, he names him in the starting lineup. But I'd rather Rogers was given the afternoon off, quite frankly, and we'll save him for the games against Leeds and Wolves, and of course Chelsea and Man United. But I think it's really important we get 6 points or 4 points from those next 2 games, more so than getting the win against Newcastle. We do need him to step into that gap that Watkins, or lack of Watkins goals, has caused. So we've needed Morgan Rogers to fill in. He is our top scorer this season, and I think that's just going to be it for the rest of the year. Our best goal threat is Morgan Rogers and not Ollie Watkins. Maybe Tammy Abraham will in time will fulfill that role, but at the moment, it's Morgan Rogers is our key attacking threat. If anything happens to him, we are in trouble because we've got Abraham who isn't up to speed yet, and we've got Watkins who's just not at the level he was in previous seasons. That is why I don't want Watkins to play. I don't want to completely change 11, as in I don't want to send in out the kids situation, because we have just got back to winning ways after a little wobble. And if we lost 3-0, 4-0, that could really destroy our momentum. So I think there's a few changes Emery can make. I would persist with the likes of Sancho. I'd bring Bailey in, give him time. Douglas Luiz needs the minutes. I'd keep him. We're probably going to see Lindelof as well. We're probably going to see Marco Bizot. We'll have to keep Bogard because Cash is out. Dina comes in as well. You know, so there are players who have played lots of first team football there. Do we see Onana or not? Maybe he'll be rested. Does Barkley go in? Barkley's short of match time, but I don't want him to pick up an injury. Alisson looks good. Do we give him a debut or do we keep him for the off the bench? These are all decisions. And now, if he's thinking of keeping Alisson from the bench, does he start with Rodgers, or maybe it's Buendia and Alisson comes on for Buendia, Sancho maybe up front, Bailey maybe up front, Tammy Abraham probably will start. So there's other options other than Morgan Rodgers, and I think we can have enough with these changes to still beat Newcastle. Newcastle are in a funny position. They're not doing as well in the league this year, and they might think the Champions League games are so much more important because if they win a game of the Champions League, they get about 2 million. So for them and their revenue and for planning for next season, those games are individually more important than this FA Cup game. That being said, the league isn't going great, and does Eddie Howe think I might need another trophy just to show the owners that we're on the right track here? So I don't know what kind of squad he's going to put out. I would suspect that both will have a few changes. Will we see Jacob Ramsey come back to haunt us? I hope not. But the one name I don't want to see is Morgan Rodgers. And look, if you're saying which do you want, a Villa win and Rodgers to play, or a 1-0 defeat and Rodgers rested, I can see the benefit in the Rodgers being rested, to be perfectly honest. So that's it. I'm sorry to the Villa fans who do want to win the FA Cup. Many who've seen us win everything except the FA Cup. I get that, but there's a bigger picture. And if we get Champions League year on year and we're able to get that revenue stream up, then the likelihood is we'll make a better attempt at the FA Cup in years to come when we've a squad filled with more quality and more depth. But for now, priorities. Morgan, hope you put the feed up, and the rest of the lads go for it. Fingers crossed we have enough still to get the victory. But no Morgan for me.